I mean, honestly, I would put it right up there with the original Castlevania as being the toughest Castlevania game, period. And really, the only reason why the original Castlevania was so tough is because this was during an era when it was less about presenting a console experience and more about presenting an arcade port. Like, here's the way to think about it. Back in the day, yeah, there were console games, sure, absolutely, but they were emulating what was already being done in the arcades. You know, in many cases, it was like, you know, bring the arcades home. And, you know, I mean, in many respects, it was just an inferior arcade port. But what they did is they deliberately did little things like they made it harder than the arcade, or they would have it where there were really crappy checkpoints or no checkpoints or what have you. Like in this, in many cases, you don't even go back to the start of the, quote, block. You go back to the start of the stage. It just really depends on where you're at. And, well, yeah, I never really did that. You can throw your fucking weapons while you're, you know, flailing around with your whip, which was also different because normally what would happen is you would have to hold up and press the attack button at the same time to throw your weapon. And they did that, of course, because in the original Castlevania, you only have the two buttons. You know, and that's it. Just the A and B buttons, your jump and your whip button, and that's it. You know, so if you want to use your sub-weapon, well, you know, there you go. Total director. He directed the serial. But, I mean, basically, with the later console versions, they were a little more console aware. In other words, you could tell they were designed for the console. Still inspired by the arcade, but designed for the console. Like, Metroid was never an arcade game. It could never be an arcade game because of the way it is. It just couldn't be. It wouldn't work that way. It'd be way too fucking long for an arcade experience. Like, I don't even know how you would break that up. Anyway, I'm rambling. We'll figure out what we're gonna play next, and then we'll continue on from there. But I hope you enjoyed. This was Castlevania 4, and if you're a true fan of the Castlevania games, you've probably already played this. If you haven't, but you like Castlevania or Metroidvanias in general or whatever, you owe it to yourself to go back and play this game if you haven't. So, there you go. This is Gunsage, signing off.